People think that that I be bugging out because when I go on vacation, I work out, I run. While most people, they just say, oh, nah, this is just a time to relax. And listen, I know that there's a time and place for everything. But for me, because I know the power of the compound effect and the 1 degree shift is why I still work out, I still run. Peace and power. Welcome to Raw Success Podcast, where our mission and purpose is to empower you to be the best version of yourself. My name is Khepra, and this is
Mack Bonnet.
Yeah. And today we are doing a powerful review on this powerful book here, The Compound Effect. And as you can see, it is very beat up. This is Mack's book.
So, it's read. We actually read it.
Right. This book been through the trenches.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about it. So, brother, I'll start it off. One of the things that stood out for me in the book is the story with his pops, his dad. And for a few reasons. Number one, because, I'm a parent. And also, two, because I didn't grow up with my dad. So stories like that just always stand out to me. And, he spoke about how his alarm clock was his dad's weights, clinging, and I love that sound too. I work out myself. And he spoke about how like his dad would work out at the same time and how his father, prepared him for success because we would do things like not let him and his siblings just call out sick. He jokes around and talks about they had to be like damn near dying before they can not go to school. He spoke about how his father was, just prepared them for achievement and success. And I think that that's something that really stood out to me because it highlights the importance of a strong foundation. Yes. And you know what it also did for me? I'm successful within my own right, but I realized that something that my wife always reminds me of is to stop comparing myself to other people. Because not to make up excuses for Darren Hardy, because that's the author, by the way, he put in work and he worked very hard. But how can I compare myself to someone who had a strong foundation when I didn't really have a strong foundation like that? And I'm also inspired as a father, right? When I think about like, man, was I being too hard? No. You got to prepare your children for this world. You have to prepare your children for success. And I think that that's something that's important. And he really highlights the fact that his father did that for him, so much so that he said his father messed him up in a good way. So that's something that stands out for me.
Yeah, so with me, so just a little bit about Darren Hardy. Mm-hmm. Darren Hardy is an editor for Success Magazine. And interesting thing about Success is it was founded by one of my favorite authors, I'm sure one of yours, Napoleon Hill.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So Darren Hardy in many ways just is the successor to Napoleon Hill for that book. It almost went bankrupt, and he turned it around. Success Magazine is a phenomenal magazine. Each magazine comes with CDs, audio. They're very innovative, but that's just a little bit about Darren Hardy. And just when it comes to the title of the book, The Compound Effect, the theory behind it is just compounding, right? And with compounding, the best example I could think of is when you take a penny and you double it every day. After 30 days, that penny is now over $5 million. And that's the theory behind the compound effect, just taking little bit but doing it consistently. Wow. And then you get major results, So if you just become 1% better every day, by the end of the year, that's 365 times better. Wow. Yeah. So very, very powerful book. And that's definitely one of the highlights that I took within the book, just in setting up those habits, those daily habits to have success.
Indeed. And it's something that stands out for me too is that the compound effect that you just spoke of also works in reverse, positive or negative.
Yes.
Right. So that's one thing to consider. And I love how he gave you a formula. When you consistently do something over time, it will have a profound effect on your life. Now, the thing is that usually that effect appears itself in subtle changes. But the issue is that people give up because the changes are so subtle. They give up before they get to their goal or whatever intended result that they have. He speaks about how actions and when you have actions and you add that with consistency over time, you get results. So small things like Mack specified yield those rewards. The issue is that most people have microwave mentality, or they're addicted to instant gratification or quick fixes, or now fake gurus online, or they want people to do it for them.
And to that point, so what they add to that to making it easier, and they also talk about it in the other book, Atomic Habit, where a lot of the theory in Atomic Habit he got from this book, but just in making those habits, making those changes easy.
Yes, that's right.
You make it convenient. Like if you want to eat healthy, you put those healthy foods in front of you.
Right.
And you make it a little bit more of an obstacle to get to those unhealthy snacks.
Right.
Or if you want to wake up early, don't have the alarm clock right next to you. Put it on the opposite side of the room, so you have to get up and walk to it. By the time you get up and walk to it, like, all right, I'm up now.
Exactly.
So, he does fully understand just, as you put it, just that microwave instant gratification, but you make your path to success has as little bit of resistance as possible.
Right. And I love that example that he used in this book, well-written book. He talks about the airplane and how if an airplane is 1 degree off its course, right? If it's flying from LA to New York, right, NYC, if it's just 1 degree off, it'll end up in either Albany or Delaware. Mm-hmm. So again, just focusing on the little small, subtle changes, positively or negatively. Like one, that's all it takes. People think that that I be bugging out because when I go on vacation, I work out, I run. While most people, they just say, oh, nah, this is just a time to relax. And listen, I know that there's a time and place for everything. But for me, because I know the power of the compound effect and the 1 degree shift is why I still work out, I still run, maybe not at the same magnitude while I'm on vacation. The thing about that is too, right? So how do you know if you're 1 degree off? Or how do you know if you're 1 degree on the right path? Well, he talks about having what's called a scorecard and really tracking your results and tracking where you are, because you can't manage or improve on something unless you measure it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. And, you mentioned one of my favorite authors, just like one of your favorite authors. He also mentions another one of my favorite speakers, and he's an author too. Rest in peace, Jim Rohn. And something that Jim Rohn says that he quotes in the book is, what's simple to do is also simple not to do, right? Yes. And so let me ask you, Mack, we're talking about the book, but let me ask you, what is something that's simple to do that you're not doing?
Let me see. If we're going to aim it towards, no, you know what? I'm not even going to put it toward real estate. I'm going to put it towards, because I know you're big on health. And, that's something that I'm striving for. But what's simple to do is get up and do some push-ups.
All right. There you go.
Right?
Good.
Yeah.
That's right.
But it's simple not to do also, because I didn't do it this morning.
Exactly. And something else that I appreciate about the book, he talks about the willpower versus the why power. And specifically because willpower is temporary, right? But the why power, that's what will get you through the hard times so that you can let the compound effect really manifest in your life. And he speaks about the big mo, right? The big mo is momentum. And that's key. So I'll tell you a little bit of something about this podcast. This is actually the relaunch of this podcast. I mean, it's bigger and better, especially now with Mack here. But I stopped during a time when I was actually picking up some momentum. So I know what that's about.
That was actually one of my favorite parts in this book, The Compound Effect, as well, because what we have to realize, there's momentum or motivation, and motivation is temporary.
Right.
But momentum, habit, those are the things that'll get you through those days that you don't want to do it. So whether it's a workout, whether it's doing cold calls, if you're in sales, not every day is going to be a day that you want. But if it's written and that's part of your daily habits, then it doesn't matter how you feel. And so momentum is going to always beat motivation.
Especially when you have those, like, that structure in place and systems, right? And you have that why power backing it up.
Yes.
So when you don't feel like it, or when your willpower is weak, you'll have that strong why. So now let me ask you again. Let's say, what's your why when you're going through a difficult time or doing something difficult? I know you mentioned the push-ups. We could deal with that. We could deal with another example. What's your why? No, as a matter of fact, let's deal with something that you actually like, that was difficult and you conquered, right? What was your why? What got you through that?
Okay. I mean, so one of the whys that I always gonna have is just providing, having the family and having the need too, Outside of that, it's also remembering the days that I had to do without and not wanting to have to revert back to that, So if I don't want to make my calls, I'll remember like that time when you were struggling trying to figure out how's the light bill going to get paid, or anything or something like that. And that usually gives me the motivation. All right, let's just get it done.
Nice. I hear some gratitude in there too.
Yes, sir. Indeed, what about you?
For me, it depends on what area you're talking about.
Okay.
So like you mentioned how, I'm pretty disciplined when it comes to my fitness. Mm-hmm. So interesting enough, I don't work out for me. I work out for my grandchildren. And, and so right now I do have one grandchild, Big Zen. However, I started that like years ago, like not working out for me. I said, I'm working out for my grandchildren because aging is a blessing. People act like aging is a bad thing. No, it's a blessing, especially when you come from where I come from, where some people don't make it past 21, 25. So aging is a blessing. However, what I always have in my mind is, how do I want to age? What type of quality of life do I want to have as a grandfather? And so I want to be strong, bro. You know what I'm saying? I want to shake my grandchildren's hands when they're teenagers and they like, damn, your grandfather's strong as hell, bro. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? Plus I have daughters to protect.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, there might be some gray or whatever, but yeah, I'll knock you to hell and put a hot one in you. You know what I'm saying? So to answer your question though, it really depends on the area of my life.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah, that's the why. What I like about this book too, The Compound Effect, is it's a full book. So it may seem like it might be like a business book or something like that, but it's really a book about life. They even mention relationships and how he was having a conversation with someone and someone, the person asked him, in a relationship, what percentage do you think each party is responsible for in a relationship? So in the book, it describes how most people would answer that by saying 50-50. And he says, no, it's 100-100.
Yep.
Each person is responsible for 100% of the relationship to thrive and must take responsibility for the relationship instead of dwelling on victimhood or blaming or expecting the other person to do it. And me being a married man, I can relate to being those things, waiting for her or playing a victim or whatever, and also not taking 100% of the relationship. And nowadays I do strive for that. And sometimes I fall short. And something else that I like about it too, in the book, he talks about that it takes work. And when it's left to chance, that it will be a disaster. And I think that's everything in life, but especially relationships, because again, and I don't know if it's because of just how I grew up, you know, the community I come from. Not like the whole community. There are definitely married people in my community that I come from. But just my upbringing and not seeing the modeling of a healthy relationship. When I got married, I did sort of think that it would just work. Like, you got a man, you got a woman, you get together and that's it. But no, it really does take work. So I really appreciated that in this book.
So it's important that you kind of point that out, because they'll see a book like this, The Compound Effect. You might think it's a business book, but what you're saying and showing is that it's more than that. The tools that they use can be applied to many different parts of your life.
Indeed. And you know what I like about it too, he makes it like really easy and basic and easy to understand. He has a list of things which he calls game changers. Mm-hmm. And so I'll read them here. He talks about setting yourself up to succeed. So like you mentioned, you gave that example, like if you wanted to eat healthier, then throw away all of the unhealthy foods and only buy healthy foods. So that's your only option. For me, like an example that I have is I prep my gym bag the night before. Mm-hmm. So literally all I have to do really is just grab the gym bag and go. You know, I have my towel, my gym outfit. And in addition to that, I already know what workout I'm going to do. I don't freestyle workouts. Well, the only time I freestyle a workout is every Sunday at 11 a.m. when I work out with a collective. Mm-hmm. And we sort of, just in that moment, make up what we're going to do. But even that is planned. Mm-hmm. I know that on Sunday, that's how it's going to go. The second game changer, he talks about think addition, not subtraction. Yes. And that's powerful. Mm-hmm. I see that resonated with you. You have an example of that?
I guess, yeah. And it's just like when setting a budget, mm-hmm. you know, sometimes it's not about setting a budget. It's actually making more money. So instead of having a budget, just make plans to make more income.
Yeah. For me, how I looked at that one, think addition, not subtraction, is when I'm making a choice to do anything or even a thought that I'm having, is this adding on to my life? Mm-hmm. You know, is this choice making things better? And however, I do understand that sometimes in life you have to subtract, and sometimes decisions are to subtract. Like if you're dealing with a toxic person in your life, you got to subtract. However, that's how I took that. Mm-hmm. Another game changer, he talks about set up accountability, involving others. And definitely I have an example for that. You know, when I wrote my book, I announced that when it was just an idea. And to this day, people ask me like, yo, what's up with that book? As a matter of fact, somebody last week asked me about it. And, I think if I'm being real, as a matter of fact, ain't like if I'm being real, let me be real, because that's all we do here. I probably would have quitted, bro, because I went through so much stuff with that first book, and it's in its last stages, that I would have probably just said, you know what, you know what I mean? But because people know, and because I said it, and people are asking about it, and for me, I just don't like to look to be the weak link. Mm-hmm. Like, you know what I'm saying? If I said it, it's go time. We're going to do it. So that's the example I have for that. What about you?
I guess just
I know you have a real estate team.
Yeah, with the team, we all hold each other. I have some mentees that I'm helping to just be successful. So I make sure that they track their numbers every night. I ask, how many contacts did you make? How many appointments did you set? And in the beginning of the week, we let each other know this is the amount that I want to have. Or,
nice, I like that.
Or we'll have a certain goal that we want to make for the year, and we could track to see, okay, if you need 10 conversations to set 5 appointments up and 5 appointments to get 1 under contract, then you need at least 100 conversations to have 10 under contract for the year.
Right.
So it's just a way to just track. So that's how we kind of hold each other accountable by tracking our conversations.
Yeah. And I'm assuming too that since you're having that conversations with them, you have to lead by example.
100%.
Right. So you're making sure that you're making the calls as well and so forth. Great. Talks about number 4, having a success buddy. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's like the connected to number 3. But just maybe just assigning someone. And I think you and I do that all the time. Even before we started this podcast, we would check in on each other. Yo, what's your goals? and we would discuss those things and continuously make sure that we're working on those goals.
Yes.
Indeed. I like number 5, friendly competition. You know, I like number 5, especially for men. I think men, not to say women don't, but I think men thrive off of friendly competition. And like something, you know, I mentioned the Sunday workouts. Something that we tell each other is like, we're not in competition with each other. We're in competition with ourselves. And the most important thing is to do your best, right? However, we're all feeding off each other at the same time. So I look at friendly competition as also like just feeding off another person, you know, feeding off their energy.
Yeah.
You know, even today, like I was like, okay, we're recording. All right, great. Make sure I got my notes. Make sure I came prepared. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to let you down. And I don't want to be the weak link. Word, because he's a giant in my book.
Yeah, I appreciate you, brother.
Number 6, celebrate. I think celebrate is something that I need to do more. He talks about celebrating the small wins and not just focusing on the quote-unquote big wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Number 7, which is the last one, last game changer, is be patient. It takes time and effort. And that's definitely something that I've struggled with in the past and still struggle with now. I just, you know, remember to apply these tools that we learn and lessons from books like this.
Yes.
Indeed. Any last words?
Get the book.
Indeed.
You know, it's good. It's definitely a very well written book with a lot of insightful points to it. So when it comes to goal setting, when it comes to just achieving for greatness and striving for that raw success.
There you go. By the way, smash that like button and subscribe.
Yes.
My last words is a quote directly from the book. You make the choices, and then ultimately the choices make you. Raw success.